Hey guys, thanks for listening to today's show. We're talking about 20 tips to still make the most out of 2020. So I think it's safe to say that 2020 has not started the way you thought it would. It's a crazy time. And if you set goals for 2020, like I did at the beginning of the year, there's a good chance you've had to either throw them out the window or at least pivot and adjust course. And whether this year has turned out to be one of unexpected blessings in a transition you've taken in stride, or a year that's been a real struggle and a challenge, it's not too late to refocus your efforts and refocus your goals. So, as of this recording, we're right at the halfway point of 2020, which is crazy to think about. As long as the last 6 months have felt in some ways, we still have another 6 months ahead of us to make this an awesome year, to make the most of this crazy year. Will you choose to be reactive and take what life throws at you for the second half of this year? Or will you choose to make these next 6 months the best of your life? The choice is yours. So let's talk about 20 tips to help you finish this year the right way. Number one, set a goal or set an intention. So some people aren't big fans of goals. And while there's a lot of power in setting goals, even setting an intention for the second half of the year can be powerful. So that involves getting clear on what do I really want. For some people that are more goal driven, an objective thing, put a time on it. Say by the end of this year, I want to do this. That can be in your health, in your fitness, your relationships, your marriage, your family. It can be spiritually. There's a lot of options. So set a goal or set an intention of what you want these next 6 months to look like. And with that, reflect on the first 6 months. So that's step number two coming up. Tip number two, reflect on the first 6 months of this year. We can learn a lot by looking back. I'm not one to say dwell in the past or do any of that, but there is so much power in reflection, learning, seeing what went well, what didn't. So look back, say, hey, what did I struggle with the first 6 months? Maybe having your kids around was not easy, trying to learn how to be a teacher and manage your work and work from home and do all those things. Maybe you let your fitness and your health struggle because you had food readily available that maybe you were eating more than you should have been. But also, don't just beat yourself up. What did you do well? Even if this has been a super tough year for you, there's probably some things you did well that you can be proud of, that you can be thankful for. So look at what you did well as well as what you struggled with. And both those things can tell you how to redirect your focus for the second half of this year. So tip number three, refocus on what matters. When we become reactive, when the year doesn't turn out how we did, global pandemic, working from home, all these things, it can get easy to throw the things that matter most to the side and just focus on incoming requests, anything that comes in our way, trying to just make things work, which is fine if you're initially we're surviving, we're figuring things out, but use this time to take a step back and refocus on what truly matters. That's going to be different person to person, but find what really matters for you and make sure you're blocking that first, that you're focusing on that first, and then letting the other things fill in the gaps. Tip number four, get clear on your why. This is something we talk about all the time, and whether it's a specific goal you're reaching for or just an intention of wanting to live better, live healthier, live with more joy, getting clear on why that's important to you is super important for actually achieving this or reaching this. Now, tying this into your why, so say, why do I want to do this? And then keep asking yourself until you get to a reason that's deep in the core of your being that gets you excited, gets you fired up, and focus on that. Tip number five, prioritize your health. Man, is this relevant with everything going on? So our health is super important for how we're feeling. It's our energy, it's our mood, it's our function, it's how we're bringing ourselves throughout our day. So make sure you're focusing on your health. You probably know which area you need the most help in and focus on that one. For some, it might be fitness and getting some more exercise, moving more throughout the day. For some, it might be your nutrition. Maybe your nutrition slipped and you need to get back on track. But don't ignore the importance of sleep and stress management as well. These are often overlooked things in the clients that I work with that people are missing or not prioritizing, and that can greatly affect your health. Now, our health, those things we talk about, affects our immune system, affects our ability to deal with things that are going on. But also it helps us to just show up better and have more confidence in our day-to-day. So make sure you're prioritizing your health. Tip number six, prioritize your relationships. Again, something so relevant right now. We figured out with social distancing and things that it's super important to have that. We realize how much we need community, we need relationships. Make sure you're prioritizing these things. Yes, Zoom is not the same or FaceTime is not the same as being in person with someone, but it sure beats being in isolation. So make sure that you're prioritizing your relationships for your family and maybe your spouse, your kids, the ones that are around you. Make sure you're prioritizing those relationships. Use this time to connect in new ways that maybe you wouldn't be able to, and make sure that you're showing up in the best way you can for those people that need you the most. Tip number 7, ask for help or find a mentor in an area you need help with. This can be a mentor, it can be a coach. If you struggle with health or nutrition or fitness, I help people out like with those things all the time. Those are things that are common struggles that if you need some more info on how to learn with those things, reach out to a coach, find someone who can help you. If it's maybe spiritually, you're looking for some more guidance, you're feeling lost in your purpose, or you're not sure why, find a group that can walk alongside you and can help you with those things. If you're looking to grow in other ways, just reach out to someone who can help. Find a friend, find someone who's already doing that, and use this opportunity to learn from them and grow in that area. Tip number 8, seek accountability. This is something that is huge. Can't stress this enough. All the areas in my life where I've really grown the most, and the areas where I was probably the most scared to grow, the most comfortable in my comfort zone, were areas where I needed the most accountability and someone to help push me. People in my corner, though, people encouraging, people not judging or looking down on it, but people that walk with you and push you and see the best in you. Find someone that can hold you accountable. This can be something where you invest in, again, a coach or something that you hire someone to help do that, or it can simply be a family member, a friend who's gonna walk with you in this and make sure that you're doing the things that you set out to. Tip number 9, be okay with changing goals and changing plans. Things change, circumstances change. We're not defined by them. And maybe the goals we set forth, I went into 2020 with some big goals in mind from a health standpoint, from a business standpoint, some of these different things. And those things have had to be adjusted. We did not draw up the year the way that it ended up going. And that's tough at first, especially for the achievers out there. But being able to change those goals, pivot, say, okay, hey, maybe I won't reach this thing that I set out for, but here's what I can still accomplish. Here's what's still realistic. Being okay with the changing of plans, and being okay to frequently reflect and evaluate and change those things too. We don't have to wait for the new year to do this. This is something we can do in the moment. Tip number 10, practice gratitude. This one, we hear it all the time. It's something we know we need to be doing, yet it's so hard to do. And this doesn't have to be anything complicated. This can be, I like using first thing in the morning, at the end of the day, or both, to think of one thing you're thankful for. Think of 3 things you're thankful for and focus on those things. Really picture those things. They could be super small. It could be something like, thank you for having a roof over my head and food in the fridge to eat. Or it could be something, maybe you're going through a season of a lot of things and you have a lot to be thankful for. Make sure you're focusing on those things, because that totally reshifts our focus and puts things into perspective. Tip 11, let go of control. I talked about this earlier with being okay with changing plans. You have to be willing to surrender control at times. And especially for the control freaks out there, the people that are striving, are achieving, are trying to will their way. Sometimes we're not the ones in control. And whatever you believe in spiritually, I believe there's a lot of things outside of our control. I believe that God is working for our good. And I believe that there's a lot of good that can come even out of bad situations. But it doesn't make it any easier for me to say, hey, I don't have control over this. I can't control what happens with places opening or closing. I can't control what happens in a global pandemic. I can't control what travel plans look like, canceled travel, things that we had planned for the year that we had to back out of. But once you're okay to surrender that, you can really focus on what matters the most. Tip 12, try and learn a new skill. This can be something related to growth in a specific area that you want to, like we talked about earlier with finding a mentor, or this could be a hobby, something you want to learn how to play guitar, you want to learn how to cook in a certain way, or learn some new dishes you can prepare from a cooking standpoint. There's so many things and hobbies you can pick up. Challenge yourself to learn a new skill, try something different. And if you have an area that you're specifically working on, double down on a mentor, double down on using any extra time you have where maybe things got canceled. use that time to learn something new. Tip 13, love this one. Look for ways to serve and give back. So this is one that's hard when things are tight, when things are restrictive. It's easy to want to hold on tighter, to clench our fists, but be willing to have open hands, be willing to look for ways to serve and give back. There's people that are probably a lot less fortunate than you and I are in this situation, and people that are struggling, people that have lost jobs. You might be there, but regardless of where you are, look for ways to serve and give back. That totally changes our attitude when we can give in a way and not think so inwardly, not think so selfishly, but be selfless in what we've been given. For some, that might be financially. For some, that might be just giving your time and volunteering somewhere. There's plenty we can be doing to make sure we're giving back. Tip 14, get creative. This could be get creative in terms of a creative outlet. This could be challenging yourself creatively in that way. But what I really mean by this is get creative in what you want to be doing. Things might look different. If you had travel planned, you might have to get creative with taking day trips, with camping in the backyard, with finding ways to do something fun that's different than what you would normally do. This could be a health and fitness goal. If you don't have access to a gym or you're concerned about going to a gym, it could be, hey, how can I learn some bodyweight movements or focus on my mobility and flexibility and do some other things that I've been putting off. Get creative with whatever is in front of you and make the most out of this time. Tip 15, do something challenging. Get out of your comfort zone. This is something that can be small steps. It can be a big step, but setting a challenging goal or setting something that you can do that's challenging will motivate you. It pushes you a little bit. It allows you to sit in a little bit of that discomfort and take some action steps towards actually doing that. And regardless of what the actual challenges you accomplish, that's not the point. The point is how you grow through reaching and striving for something that's challenging or something that's uncomfortable for you. Tip 16, set boundaries. This one's relevant for a lot of people because it's easy to let little things invade our schedule, invade our lives. And for a lot of people, these are all good things that are going in there. It's time spent with talking with family and friends. It's work. It's other community or those giving back things we talked about. All these things can be good on their own, can be working out even. But if you don't have clear boundaries in place and your schedule feels like it's slowly getting more and more overbooked, that's going to drain you and that's going to keep you from doing what really matters. So even with the good things, make sure you're setting boundaries, make sure you're aware of when the schedule is getting too full and that you're giving yourself time to do what's most important for you. Tip 17, take imperfect action. I talk about this all the time. Don't do all the planning in the world. Don't do everything at the expense of taking action. The best way is just to get started. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate things. Shoot, I skipped ahead to step 18. Tip 18 here is to don't overcomplicate things. So we'll combine these two together. Imperfect action and not overcomplicating things go hand in hand. We want this perfect plan. We want to know how everything's going to turn out before we start. But in reality, we're just going to learn as we do. So trial by fire, step into it, challenge yourself, and you'll be surprised how much you learn along the way and how much better things end up when you can just start taking action. Tip 19, don't try and do it all. Get help. Let your family help you. Let your friends help you. Find a community that can walk with you and help you. You're not meant to do it all on your own. There's no such thing as a self-made man or someone who's going to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. Get help where you need it. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't try and do it all. Last tip number 20, start living as the person you want to be today. Don't wait. Don't say, man, next year I want to start being this healthy person, or I want to start being more patient and show more grace to my spouse. I want to start eating well in a few months. Start right now. Start being that person you want to be. Don't wait for it as if it's this faraway thing. Do that right now. You have the choice to start living and change that story at any point. And I'm encouraging you right now to get motivated to do that. It just starts with a choice, and then start living that way. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to stumble. You're going to have to remind yourself, but just start doing it. There's our 20 tips, guys. I hope this was helpful for you. I know how hard it is to stay grounded and stay grateful when our plans change or when things don't look the way we thought them to be in our head. But It also doesn't mean it's too late to make the most out of this year. And you have an incredible opportunity to still make the most out of this year. Don't fall into the trap of people saying that I can't wait for 2020 to be over. Or we hope 2020 just gets erased or disappears. I cringe when I hear that because we can't wait until 2021 to get refocused. The time is right now. And our challenges is often where our greatest growth lies. So use these challenges and setbacks as an opportunity to grow in ways like never before. It's not too late to make this your best year. We're not tied to our circumstances, and we have the opportunity to change at any point. And whether you're listening to this as it comes out in July of 2020 and you still have the next 6 months to look ahead to, great, make the most out of those. But regardless of when you're listening to this, you have the opportunity to change right now in this moment. Go make it happen. If you guys need any help with getting clear on your goals and your purpose, I do have a link in the show notes here to download our strategic goal planning playbook to make 2020 or whatever year you're in your best year yet. This is a process that I take a lot of the clients I work with through, and it's a great way to get clear on your purpose and clear on your goals. But hopefully those tips are helpful. Don't overcomplicate it. That's the biggest thing you can take away. Just be patient with yourself. Know that there's still a lot of year left or a lot of time left ahead to make those changes right now. So go get started, guys. Always reach out if you guys have any questions. Thinking about you all. Hope this was encouraging, because it was encouraging for me just to go through it and know that I'm not alone in a lot of these struggles that I've faced. So hopefully we'll talk to you guys soon. Follow these tips. Sign up for that link if you guys are looking for a little more guidance, and we'll talk to you guys soon.